Hey guys, it's Gina. I'm going to run you through this layout that I made, and I hope that the voiceover works this time, and I'm getting very frustrated that it hasn't been working. The timing is off. I cannot figure out why. The timing is not staying the way it needs to. So I'm confused about that, but I'm going to hope that it stays together now, because if it doesn't, I'm done for the night. So I started with these three photos that I took of the kids at Toys R Us, and they're showing me what they picked out. And I decide I want to use all three photos on the same layout, and I just need to figure out a way to do that. So I'm trying to figure out a way to fit all three of the pictures on the 12 by 12 layout. The photos are printed at, let me think, 4 by 4, and I start thinking that I'm going to use this paper horizontally. So my thought process here is I'm going to put these photos down on this gray paper, and then I'm going to use that striped paper as a border. And I don't know what happens, but I decide, nah, I'm just going to cut this gray paper down, because that's what's going to, that's going to be the this is how I'm going to lay it up. This is what it looks like. And I'm sorry, it's late and I've already done this 3 times. So this is what I decide it's going to look like, and then I don't like it. And I decide what would have been better is if I had that gray paper as the entire background. Unfortunately, I've already cut the gray paper and I don't have another one of those in a 12 by 12. So I do like the fact that I do like the pictures on the striped paper, so I decided that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste them down, and my tape runner got twisted somehow. That's never happened before, but I just took my tweezers and I untwisted it and put it back together, and it works just fine. So I put that down, and then I'm going to layer these photos so that they span the 12 by 12 page. But they have to be overlapped a bit because obviously they're 12 by 12, and if I laid them in a straight line, they take up the whole page, and I didn't want a strip of photos. So I just sort of put them on in a kind of diagonal arc kind of way, and there's that. So then I decide that I really wish that I had that gray paper in a 12 by 12, but I don't. And then the other thing, right now I'm looking for a punch. And so right now that's how I thought I was gonna put the layout. But the problem is, if you look at what I want to use as my focal point, and that's those, not really my focal point, but my main embellishment, those circle gems up there. I really wish that I had the gray paper at a 12 by 12, which I don't. But I can fix that because I'm going to take this really ugly paper. I don't even know how to explain that paper to you. I don't like it at all. So what I decide I'm going to do is I'm going to put the gray paper back together. And the gray paper has like little circles and little stars on it to look like a sky. And I feel like to put those gem circles on the gray would be better because obviously they're going to show up better and they won't be competing with that dark blue that I thought I was going to use. So I decide that's what I'm going to do. So I mark the paper, that ugly paper, where the photo strip is going to sit, and then I just post it, and look, you never know. You never know that it wasn't a full 12 by 12 sheet. You didn't know that I cut it before I wanted to. And now I'm looking for something that I can make my border. I want to border that striped paper with something, so I pull out the very classic scallop border punch from Fiskars. I think we all have it in our stash. Or if we don't now, we did it sometime, and it was we used it on everything, didn't we? And now we don't use it as often, but it's still a classic. We love it. So when I went through I knew I wanted to put a border on this striped paper. So when I looked in my punches, I was like, oh, this one. It's got to be this one. So I could have used a star one, I guess, but I'm using this constellation paper to make my borders, and then I'm just obviously I'm punching them and then cutting them down so that I can add them to each side of this striped paper, just like that. So So I'm gonna pull out my Zutter now, and I am going to distress the edges of this photo paper. The strip of paper that has the photos on it. I'm going to distress it around the edges with this Zutter tool. I own this tool, but believe me, you don't need it at all. I have it. I pull it out, so I use it because I have it. But you can distress with those scissors that are laying on the desk. You definitely do not need the Zutter tool. I don't even know why I bought it. So I'm gonna pull out the wet glue here, and like I'm not sure with the number of times I've recorded this if I said this before, but I really like to use tape glue, dry glue, because it doesn't buckle your paper or anything like that. But for this particular one, because I want this all lined up, I'm going to use wet glue, and the reason for that is that wet glue gives you a bit of time to position things. Tape runner, you can't. You don't have time to wiggle it around. But with liquid glue, you have that small window where you can wiggle it to get it into the position that you want, and you don't have that flexibility with a tape runner. So I have these small strips of paper left over from where I punched that border, and I really like how it looks with the 4 stripes across the page of that paper. I just feel like it's balanced now, and it feels confined. It doesn't feel like that gray is just falling off the edge of the paper with that border there. So I'm really liking that. And now I'm looking at the embellishments that I might want to use for this layout, and I decide that I'm going to use these square letters for my title, and my title is going to be Draft Day Activities, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to play with this for a long time. Right now I'm going to write out the word activity because I can't spell it backwards in my head, but what's going to happen is activity on the bottom is going to be shorter than the words draft day on the top, and I really want it to be a box. But there are different widths of letters here, but there is also the added challenge of the different colors of the letters. So I am going to sit here for quite some time and try to get this to work. So I'm going to lay them out looking at colors, and then I'm going to realize they're not all going to fit stacked up one on top of the other, and so it's just a nightmarish mess, and I spent way too much time working on this, and I eventually am going to have to cut some of these letters down, but I think actually that I'm just going to cut the video here, and then I will come back because nobody wants to watch me go through this nightmare. Okay guys, so I got those letters down, and now I'm adding some glue to them so that they will stay, because I picked them up and put them back down so many times that they were no longer sticking. So I finally got that all done, and now I'm going to look to embellish the page. So I pulled this little label sticker off the sticker sheet, and I'm going to cut that excess off. So I'm going to make these little embellishment clusters, both in the upper left hand corner of that photo to the left, and the lower right hand corner of that photo to the right. So I'm just looking at all of the different labels that I have and things like that that I may want to use in that on that left hand side. So there's the that's the drawer of die cuts that I have. So I decide that I'm going to use this label. I don't know what's wrong with me that I can't cut it, but there it is. I'm going to use it on that one side on that photo, and then I'm going to use it right next to the title, and I add that little sticker on top of it that's for the date. And so then I pull out that little pink, it's like a pink sticker with some constellation outlines on it, so I put that down by that arrow label, and now I'm going through these die cuts that I have to see which ones I want to use. So I'm going to end up, I wanted to use a camera really bad, but I don't end up using that camera because it just doesn't work out. And then I also thought I'd use a tab or put something up there in that upper upper right hand corner, but I decide not to because I realized that I'm going to have all of that embellishment with those gem circles. So I do get a camera on the page using that chipboard, and then I took the center of that camera out and pulled that pink color over to the right hand side of the page because it was there now prominent on the left. I have that die cut there that says highlights, and I'm going to eventually color that with some archival ink to make it stand out, because obviously that white is not standing out on that gray background. So again, still going through my different miscellaneous embellishment things, and it ends up that I don't use any of them. Because I keep going back to the fact that I'm going to have all of these gems all over this page. So I definitely don't want to over embellish now and then put the gems on and have it look like a hot mess. So I'm going to restrain myself, and I think now I'm going to get the art there. Oh, I'm going to use Stampin' Up! Ink. I'm sorry, I thought I used the archival ink. So I'm going to cut a makeup sponge, and then I'm going to use that Stampin' Up! Ink and my tweezers, and I'm just going to pounce that color onto that die cut. Just like that. There we go. And I'm going to put that on the side and let it dry for a couple of minutes. And I'm going to stamp. I thought I was going to use this phrase stamp. And then I decided I don't want to. It's not going to fit anywhere. It's much wider than I wanted. So then I decide I'm going to see about doing my journaling. Right now I'm writing the date in there. And then I thought I was going to do my journaling right away. And I was like, I don't have any lines to do journaling. So I'm going to pull out my texture tools right here, and by some luck of the draw or whatever, I had a Toys R Us gift card or rewards card or something in that stack of cards. And so I'm going to cut the Toys R Us logo off of this rewards card, because how appropriate is that? And I'm going to use that Toys R Us logo down by where that little pink heart is, right there. But before I am going to put it right down. Okay. I'm going to put that right down, and then I'm going to use my phrase stamp, and this is where the archival ink comes in because I'm stamping on a shiny surface. So I used the archival ink, and I stamped the word noteworthy. And then, I'm back to that problem I had with where I was going to put my journaling. So I use the side of the card, and I keep dipping it in that archival ink, and I'm putting some lines on the paper, and I'm just doing it very randomly, and I'm doing it messy. It's kind of messy. And I was very cognizant when I was doing this layout that my gems, that the main embellishment on this layout was going to be all these circles. So I really wanted to make sure that a lot of the things that I put on the page before those gems go on there are linear, so that there's a balance between the linear and the circles. So I'm going to pull these things were a pain in the butt to get off of that acetate sheet. I kid you not. Like, I ruined so many of them. So I'm going to show you me putting that one down, and then voila, they're all done, because you didn't want to watch that. Much like you didn't want to watch me futz around with all those letters for 20 minutes. Obviously I speed it up, but you just didn't want to watch it. So there it is. That's it. The layout is done. I'm going to add my journaling. My journaling reads, the temperature on draft day this year was well over 95 degrees. We had made plans to go to the zoo, but with those temperatures, no one was interested. It was time for one of Aunt Gina's favorite activities, a trip to Toys R Us. And after I finish that, the layout is going to be finished. There it is. All done. There's the photo of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment. And I hope you guys are having a good day. I'll see you later. Bye.